Hi, cyberspace. Okay, this is another one of those quick readings I told you you would be getting. This is actually part of the previous 25,000 words. This isn't part of the catch up yet. Um, but this is in chapter 6, I think. This is after Jude, Noah, and Cece have arrived at the high school where people are gathering to wait out the zombie attack. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know. They've arrived at the high school, and this is in the cafeteria where everybody is. So, here we go. I began to turn to Jude and Noah to ask them if they wanted to hang for a bit or wander, when out of the corner of my eye I saw my best friend Anne's older and younger sisters. They were both crying. I held my breath, searching the area around them for Anne. I prayed to whatever god might be listening, hoping that my eyes were playing tricks on me, or that she was just on the other side of the pillar her sisters were leaning against. I did not even glance at Jude as I silently made my way through the press of people to Amelia and Claire's side. "Where are you?" I heard Jude begin to ask, but stop as he saw what I saw. I did not turn. I heard Noah finish the question Jude had begun, and Jude explained, very quietly, "Those are Anne's sisters." "Where's Anne?" Noah asked, confirming my fears before I reached my destination, and Claire reached for me and drew me into a tight hug. I felt Amelia's arms go around both of us, and we all sobbed quietly for a moment or two before I drew slightly away without letting go of them. "What happened?" I asked in a choked whisper. Some cynical part of me wondered if I would spend the entire apocalypse crying, or if I would run out of tears by the end of the night. I punched the cynical part of me in the face and focused on Amelia's tear-stained face. "We were running toward the car," she said. "I had the back door open. Mom was already in the driver's seat, shouting at us to get a move on. I dived for the passenger seat, and—" Claire trailed off in a sob. "Anne tripped." I would have laughed, because Anne was always tripping, but this time it was not funny. One of the things hurt her, and it bent over, almost as if it were helping her up. "We saw the gas," Claire whispered, horrified. "It just sort of... She just breathed in. Once. She looked at me, Cece. She looked me in the eye, and she said, 'Wait.'" "Wait," I repeated. I could no longer feel the tears streaming down my face, but I knew that they were there. "We slammed the door in her face, Cece," Amelia said, breathlessly, horrified by what they had done. "She pounded on the window until Mom pulled away, and we couldn't tell if she was crying or already coughing." "So she's still out there?" I asked. Claire nodded. Amelia shook her head. "No," she said vehemently. "She's not Anne anymore. We have to remember. Anne died. Now there's just one more zomboid." Claire broke down in a fresh wave of sobs and buried her face in my shoulder, which was already wet with her tears. I held her awkwardly and nodded to Amelia. I understood. If she believed that Anne was dead, then she would never have to deal with hope, and the cruelty of hope. I wished I could follow her example, but I could not let go of the idea that the zomboids had once been people I loved. I thought of Anne, and of my father, stumbling around out there in the gathering dark. It had not been 15 hours yet, for either of them. They were still conscious, still knowing that we had abandoned them, still waiting for their deaths to come. I breathed deeply, slowly, trying to avoid another hyperventilation attack, and gently pried Claire off of me. "Take care of each other," I said to them, "and your mom." "You could stay with us," Claire said. "Mom's upstairs in one of the history rooms. She said if we found you that you could stay with us." "No," I said, perhaps too quickly. "I've got some people. Jude." I briefly met Amelia's eyes, but looked away, afraid that she would see what I felt. "You forgive us, right?" she asked me, quietly, so that Claire could not hear. "You forgive us for leaving her?" I nodded woodenly, keeping my eyes from meeting hers again. "Cece, you know we had to." She grabbed my arm as I turned to make my way back to Jude and Noah. "You know we didn't have a choice. That if we hadn't left her, we'd be dead too." "She's not dead yet," I muttered. "She's got another 12 hours. "What were we supposed to do, Cece?" Amelia hissed. "What were we supposed to do?" "I don't know," I whispered, still refusing to look at her. "I don't know. And I do forgive you. Just not right now." I gave Claire one more hug and walked back to Jude and Noah, wiping the tears from my eyes as I went. "You okay?" Jude asked. "No," I said, "but I will be. I think. Just as long as I don't have to see Mrs. Barry, I think I'll be okay." "Why?" Jude asked at the same time Noah said, "Who?" "Anne's mom," I said, answering Noah's question first. I turned to Jude and gripped his hand tightly. "They left her behind." "Oh, Jude began to swear but stopped as the principal walked by. I didn't think it would matter much if Jude swore in front of the administration anymore. But what were they going to do? Give him detention? But I suppose that old habits die hard. So there you go, trying to inject a little humor there at the end of that kind of dreary, depressing passage. I think it's more realistic for it to be dreary and depressing at this point in the story. Um, but I tried to lighten it a little bit. Anyway, I hope you liked that little other zombie story. And obviously, like I said, keep looking forward to these throughout the weekend. And I will see you later. Bye.